Let us talk about the green and blue hydraulic failures on the Airbus A320. This involves two failures, so the actions taken is rather long. You will not have ailerons to turn the aircraft, so moving the plane can be a bit tedious. Let's check this out. I'm not going to go through the hydraulic system because you can check it in my previous videos. Okay, so fluids for the blue and green hydraulic systems. In actual case, it is unlikely that both fluids will drain out at the exact same time. Maybe you didn't pay your respects to the sky gods. You might get a single failure first before the other one fails as well. Now, action time. Failure happens. Reset the master warning. First off, fly the plane. Autopilot will disconnect, so you would have to manually fly the plane. Your pitch will be about 2.5 degrees in cruise and level flight. Your auto thrust is still working, so no issues there. Before you jump into the ECAM actions, pilot monitoring should check the overhead panel and system display page and confirm that the failure is real. Bear in mind that sensors in the overhead panel and system display page may be different from the sensors that trigger the failure. Consider any outstanding OEBs and ECAM actions. Clear auto flight, be aware that you're flying manual now. Hydraulic green and blue system low pressure. Switch off the blue electric pump, no fluids left, so don't leave the pump running, it might overheat. Green engine 1 pump off, maneuver with care. Switch off the power transfer unit, the PTU. You will be in alternate law where certain protections are lost. Therefore, your maximum speed should be only 320 knots. And do not use your speed brakes. Land ASAP rate. Let us check out this wheel page. So, spoilers 1, 3 and 5 is inoperative. You have spoilers 2 and 4 to roll the aircraft. You will still have your anti-skid and alternate brakes. And you cannot use your auto brakes. Now, the flight control page, you do not have ailerons, so any turns will be sluggish. Pitch trim is still available with the yellow hydraulic system in place. You have the right elevator working and also the rudder is being powered by the yellow hydraulic system. Status page, maximum speed of 320 knots or Mach 0.77. Fly the aircraft carefully and do not use your speed brakes. Switch off the auto thrusts. For landing, use flaps 3. GPWS landing flaps 3 on to avoid nuisance warnings. When the speed is at 200 knots, lower the gear using gravity gear extension. You want to get the aircraft into direct lock. Why? Below 200 knots, you will have better pitch control than in alternate law. Remember that you have one elevator lost and all slats are lost. No slats, so your VREF is plus 25 knots. Well, you plus 30 knots if you're flying a neo-powered aircraft. And calculate your landing distance. Alternate law when geared down, direct law. Alternate braking with anti-skid. Good news, and flaps extension will be slow. In operative systems, okay, we are in alternate law. We turn the aircraft using only 2 pair of spoilers. No slats and no autopilot. You will not want to land this aircraft under low visibility conditions. Alternate braking, in case of go around, you cannot retract your gear, so fuel consumption will increase. Only reverser 2 is working and no emergency generator and no green and blue pump. Your damper 1 is also out. So, ECAM actions complete. Now this failure involves summaries because it is a dual failure with a time critical situation. There are 4 parts to the story. Situation assessment, approach preparation, arrival briefing, and the approach itself. Let us start with situation assessment. We know the failures, what systems we have. Now we have to decide where do we want to go. For this, we have to open the QRH and look at the cruise part. In the cruise part, it says do not use your speed brakes. Maximum speed will be 320 knots or Mach 0.77. Maneuver with care. That is a no-brainer. Alternate law and protections will be lost. Your fuel consumption will increase. In this case, the fuel penalty will be between 10 and 15%. 15% fuel penalty if all spoilers are extended. Because your brakes are impacted, calculate the landing distance needed. Get the weather conditions for the nearby airports. With these 3 things, fuel, landing distance, and weather conditions, you can choose the best airport to land. Of course, a familiar airport with excellent firefighting services will have. Now we move on to preparing the approach phase. For this, open up the status page and have a look. Also read the approach, landing and go around of the summary page. Some repetition here. In the approach section of the summary page, Cat 2 is not working. Slats are stuck and flaps are slow. Auto thrust will be switched off because you do not have slats and some ailerons and one elevator. The auto thrust may not be able to maintain the speed for you. For landing, use flap 3 and GBAWS landing flap 3 on. To extend the flaps, select VFE -5 knots. When at 200 knots, pull and turn the hand crank clockwise. 3 turns until you reach a mechanical stop. Lower the gear lever. Check and see if the gear is down. When landing gear is down, use manual pitch trim. When you are in landing configuration and in final approach, decelerate to your approach speed. Okay, for the landing section, during the flare, keep in mind that you only have one elevator and 2 spoilers per wing. No ailerons, and the aircraft will be in direct lock. Only 2 spoilers per wing and only number 2 reverses is working. Alternate braking. For the go-around section, maximum pitch is 15 degrees and thrust levers is set to TOGA and then MCT. There will be no gear retraction. The fuel consumption will be almost 3 times as much. Maintain your slats and flaps configuration for circuits with max speed -10 knots. If you need to divert, then select clean configuration. If your slats are at 0, then use your normal operating speeds. If the slats are jammed above 0, then use max speed -10 knots. Once you have prepared your approach phase, it is time to talk. Arrival briefing, keeping each other in the loop. Tell the other pilot your hopes and dreams. By referring to the approach, landing, go-around section of the QRH, you are able to tell a complete story. Also, cross-check the status page when you give your briefing. Now, it is time to commence the approach. Flaps will be slow, so configure early. Refer to the approach section of the QRH. When you have set up your aircraft for landing, review the landing and go-around sections. Remind yourself about the braking capabilities and also the gear will not be able to retract during go-around. Finally, the pilot monitoring should check the status page and check that all approach procedures has been completed. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.